Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? We got another great show for you. We finally are going to complete the interviewing of the three-headed monster. Now, what do I mean by that? The Reilly brothers. I've talked about them. I've already had two of the Reilly brothers on, Will and Hugh, both PGA pros. Hugh is in the Philadelphia area. Will is on the Atlantic side in on the East Coast of Florida in the Palm Beach area. And now we're going to meet their younger brother, Michael, who I know as Mike. I also know him as something else, and we'll get into that, some childhood shenanigans going on. But the first family of golf in America, the Reilly brothers. So dad's a PGA pro, three brothers are PGA pros, and finally we're going to hit for the cycle, or at least we're going to hit a triple. I don't know, maybe we'll hit a Grand Slam and we'll get Mr. Reilly on at some point. But Mike is our guest. Before we go any further, I thought I'd update you on a couple of things. First of all, we have a new client with Party Drinks. It's Cappy's Island Shop on Boca Grande. And all the places where Party is available throughout the show will be scrolling across the bottom of your screen. But I want to ask you a couple of things. First of all, the show continues to grow and grow and grow. This thing is bugging me here, that wire there. And that's because of you. And I appreciate that very much. And if you haven't already, would you please hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a review? Because that matter, we like to know who's watching, who has thoughts about things, but also the analytics with the nerds at Google and YouTube. It makes a big difference too. And since we got kicked off YouTube and then got put back on, we are getting closer and closer to where we once were. And the people who missed us for a short time are like, they're glad we're back, and we're glad to be back, and we appreciate all the support. Big thanks to Party Drinks, the title sponsor. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, if you're tired of beer, if you're tired of crappy seltzers or drinks that are named after crabs and crustaceans that crawl on the bottom of the ocean, then try a Party, especially a transfusion. Number one seller, the finest vodkas and rum in a drink, refreshing, built for golfers, by golfers, Party Drinks. And also a big thanks to the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com. Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh. If your dream is to live in Southwest Florida, especially around the Sarasota area, based at Lakewood National Golf Club, the number one golf community in America, Gene and Vince are your people. They can take care of you. They have some houses for sale and inventory at Lakewood National, but not just Lakewood National, also the greater Sarasota area. So big thanks to them. All right. Enough of the housekeeping stuff. Let's get the man of the hour. This is my buddy, Mike Reilly, joining us from... Mike, where exactly are you joining us from?
I'm in Rydal, PA, not too far from where you almost got arrested a few times, Abington.
Well, are you going there already? Never was. Should have been.
Never
without a doubt. And probably because of some shenanigans or stuff that you put me up to. You're such an ass. You know that? You are an ass.
I know.
Now, I mean that in a love. Can you explain the origins of why you and I
don't know if I remember. Yeah, I mean, I know that one day I was being a wise ass or I was being stupid, and you're like, you are such an ass, and that's just kind of became my nickname. And then instead of trying to be original, coming up with something else, I just kind of started calling you an ass too. So it's been a little term of endearment between two of us over the past couple decades.
Well, people look at us like we're weirdos when we're calling each other that. Like, but let me ask you, can you not come up with your own material? I own that material. Get your own material. Come up with something else.
Well, I like bothering you, Kevin. So it's just extra treat for me knowing that it bothers you that I steal your material. So that's just positive.
You're such an ass. You are such an ass. Not an asshole, like an ass as an ass clown. Okay, enough of the profanity. It may come up again just because it's kind of organic in our conversations. Mike Reilly is our guest today, part of the Reilly family. His two brothers are golf pros, PGA pros. His dad, Hugh Sr., is a golf pro as well. Mike, take me back. Tell me about the old neighborhood. I know your brothers described it, but maybe your description would be a little bit different because there is a pretty good age separation, and the stuff that you were doing as a kid was maybe a little bit different than Will and Hugh.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I didn't really get into golf as early as my brothers. I don't know if I rejected it as much as I just was into other things. Baseball was my thing until 8th grade when I was playing baseball. Actually, I was running track and I broke my wrist. And then that summer, I just kind of spent more time with Will and Hugh, kind of tooling around and playing some golf. I remember it's out on the 8th green, just swinging a club with one hand. I think you were there. And that's just when I at that point, I just, my baseball career was over and I decided to start playing golf. So I started much later. I had picked up the game before that, but never really played a ton. You guys, by the time I started playing, you guys had already started, and you guys were all really kind of established in the junior golf, Philadelphia junior golf scene, and even even nationally. We had some great players at Huntingdon Valley. I was just happy to be part of that crowd.
But did you think, all right, so you make it seem like it was sort of an accident and also the injury which propelled it forward. But like in your heart of hearts, did you kind of imagine this might be the way that it ends up, even if you weren't there all in at a young age?
Early on, I hadn't really thought too much about what I was going to do. And then after I started playing golf and I got into the family business, it was something that I think it just kind of seemed like a natural to me. I think customer service was kind of in my blood. And, when I was with my father's business and with my brothers, it was a bit of a bit crowded at one golf course for 4 golf professionals. So I kind of went out on my own. I was the only one of the brothers that decided to leave the family business and go into the private end. So it was a good call because, it gave my brothers a little bit more freedom to kind of do what they needed to do at my dad's club. And then gave me some opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah, you had a chance to spread your wings. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh connections and the dear friends that you made out there, and then also the journey back. Because I think for a lot of folks who were born and raised in Philadelphia, you can take Philly out of the boy, or you can take the boy out of Philadelphia, but you can't take Philly out of the boy. Look who it is.
Hi, Kevin.
How'd you get in here?
Well, I just slipped right in. I knew you were recording, and I thought, here's my chance.
Okay, here we are. Hey, let's update the market. What's going on?
Well, we have exciting news this week. The Fed has lowered interest rates, so we see interest rates right now in the 5s. So for people who have been waiting, this is your opportunity. We've seen the market picking up. More people are coming out to open houses. So I'm feeling very good about things.
All right. This is better than the same time last year.
Yes. Last year, we didn't have as much inventory. It was harder to find a home. This year, it's easier to do that. But don't wait too long because you don't want to miss out.
You got a special one? A little nugget in the pocket?
I do. We have a beautiful listing on Cheech Glen at Lakewood National Golf Club. And this home is special because it's a 2-story home. So if you're looking for more space, it's 4 bedrooms, 4 baths with a bonus room. And it's great for guests, great for families. Beautiful view on the golf course on Piper.
6-hole at the Piper course. Can we see it?
Yep, I got a video.
That is nice.
It is. It's private in the back because the way it's on the golf course, there's a little bit of privacy with the hill, but then you have a view of the golf course as well.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Walsh, suncoastdreams.com. Thanks,
Thank you.
as far as like influences, you talked about your brothers and your dad for sure. How much of an influence was I on you and maybe some of the other kids at Huntingdon Valley, like Bill Hyman, who we knew was king, and we still know him as king, but he's now gone on to become the CEO of the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia, Doug Greger, and some of the others. Who were they, and what did they do for you?
I played a lot of golf with you and Doug and King growing up, and I was always a little bit of a step behind you guys. You guys were all so good, coming from great golf pedigrees, and it was a lot of fun to play. I learned a lot playing with you guys. You guys kicked my butt a pretty fair amount. Thank God we didn't play for any money, because you'd have been taking my lunch money right and left. But it was a lot of fun. For me, it was the best thing. It was just making friends, and friends that we have today. I mean, as you know, if you lived in Philly, we'd be playing probably 4 or 5 times a summer together. Everybody, switching their schedules around to make it happen. Fortunately, you moved away, and we're a little happy about that. But I wasn't going to say that, but I guess it just kind of slipped out. But no, but in general,
such an ass. You're such an ass. I mean, I knew you'd like. I mean, was that organic or that was planned?
It just slipped out. No, but it was actually good for me as developing, because you guys had all started playing at a much younger age, and I didn't have, I had a ton of instruction, as you can imagine. I always tell people now, as a professional, whenever I go out and play with them, I say, listen, I am more than happy to give you any kind of advice you want, but you have to ask first, because I won't offer it on the golf course unsolicited. Because when I was a kid, I couldn't take 2 or 3 swings without being told what I did wrong on that swing. And it was great to have that advice, but at times it was just like, hey, man, let me play my game. So no, I learned a lot from all my friends at Huntingdon Valley, and we had a great time growing up.
I think, yeah. Oh, did we ever? Well, who corrupted who here? I mean, was I the bigger, like?
Come on, Kev. That's just such a stupid. That's like the dumbest question ever. I was going into the priesthood before I met you. I mean, you just were such a delinquent. It wasn't even funny. I mean.
Listen, it was barely illegal, if it even was. It was not immoral, whatever it was, and it's not like I had to twist your arm. Now, there are a couple people whose names came up. I'm not going to name them right now, that needed some arm twisting, but kind of wanted it. But you were aiding and abetting in any of the mischief that. Yeah, and you instigated plenty of stuff too, especially when it came to fireworks.
I'll say King was the one that had to be pulled into some of that mischief, kicking and screaming. King was a very good kid, and he liked to have a good time. But I think I just remember looking back at it that he was always kind of like very reserved. Like, you know what, guys, I think I'm good. I think you'll have fun. I'm not gonna join you on that one.
Yeah, but he wanted it too, and he's better for it in the end. I mean, sometimes it's good to have bad influences around you, so you can be just a little more discriminating about who you hang out with. Like, okay, I know good time, but there was never not a good time when we were together.
Oh my God, no, we had a great time, and I'm blessed. Honestly, I grew up. The guys I grew up with, you, King, Doug, all the kids from high school. I honestly was blessed to have such a great group of friends and guys to play golf with. Played a lot. We caddied a lot together. We played golf a lot together, and we rose hell just a little bit. Probably not as much as some of your other friends that you used to hang out with in high school.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not into golf so much, so like we'll just leave them off the table. Mike Reilly is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for an alternative beverage on the golf course, if you're tired of beer, if you're tired of crappy seltzers and some of the other stuff, and you're looking for something convenient, Party is built for you, for golfers, by golfers. And if your dream is to live in paradise, the southwest coast of Florida, the greater Sarasota area, nobody better than Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro from suncoastdreams.com. They can get you set up. There are vacancies at Lakewood National Golf Club, 2 Arnold Palmer design golf courses. One of them hosts a Corn Ferry Tour event, and there's no better place and no better team than Vince and Gene at suncoastdreams.com. Mike, I know you have. I mentioned Arnold Palmer and the design. I live on an Arnold Palmer golf course. It's called the Piper Course here at Lakewood National. And you have some Arnold Palmer stories yourself. I didn't know this until we just talked the other night. What's the first one going to visit him in Latrobe?
Yeah, so I was a director of golf at Edgewood Country Club out in Pittsburgh for 6 years. And my third year, the chairman of the member guests said, hey, do you think Mr. Palmer would sign a couple of pictures for us for the overall champions for our member guest? And I said, well, there's only one way to find out. So I called down there, talked to Doc Giffen, who was his handler. He's the guy who took care of all the PR and all the appointments and scheduling for Mr. Palmer. And I said, is there any chance I could nail down these prints? It's beautiful prints of Mr. Palmer on the Swilken Bridge, kind of the final wave goodbye, the famous painting or print. And he said, well, no, you're not going to ship them. Just wait until he comes back from Bay Hill, and you can come down and he'll sign them all right in front of you. So I was like, wow, I get to go down and see Mr. Palmer. So time came, grabbed the prints, went down, and really cool office, all the trophies, just amazing. Went in to see him, and it's kind of funny. I mean, growing up, my friends in college used to make fun of me because they always said when I was younger I resembled a Fat Jack Nicklaus when he won at Oakmont. And
that's true. Yeah. That's true. Just stop for a sec. You still kind of look like an older version of Jack Nicklaus too, but. I'm stopping you because I want to, showing up at Arnold Palmer's office. I mean, walk me through the door. Who's answering the door? Where exactly are you?
Walk through what it was a screen door, from what I remember, to the office, and it was a little reception desk and a lady sitting there. To the left, there were a couple other offices. People came right out and said hello and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to get some things signed by Mr. Palmer." And then Doc Giffen came right out. There was a sofa area to the right with. The Masters at the time didn't have a trophy, from what I understand, but there was I think later on, they made like a gold replica of the clubhouse. I think that's what it was. So that was there. The smaller version of the Open Championship Cup was there, and so it was just amazing just seeing all that incredible memory. He had this table, and I don't know whether it was from cuts made or. Whatever it was, you might know because you won more events than I did, but you used to get these little medallions, whether you played an event or you won an event, or maybe you were a medalist.
It was like a player badge.
Yeah,
it was like a player badge.
They're almost like coins, right? Yeah. And he had this whole table. It was probably 5 feet wide and it had all these holes drilled in it, and it held all these different coins from all over the world and had a glass top. That was in his office. Just his office was so cool. All this Callaway gear flying all over the place, like, stacks of books that he was signing and stacks of prints, and just such a generous person he was. He really was.
So you walk in his office. Did you just walk right up? Is he behind a desk? I mean, I want to know.
Yeah, he's behind his desk. He's behind his desk. I walk in, Doc Giffen, come on in. I bring the prints back. I walk around the corner, and he's, Mr. Palmer would never shake your hand sitting down. So he goes to stand up, and he looks up, and he kind of double takes. And I was kind of thinking to myself, I wonder if, that resemblance that people talk about will translate into one of his nightmares, right? Because he's had a bit of a history with the Golden Bear. But so he did a little double take, shook my hand. We talked for about 5 minutes there. He signed the prints for me, and then it took about an hour. Showed me around his club room, and his room. It's amazing. It was just amazing. He might have had 10,000 golf clubs in there, from old to new. He had a workstation. He was doing his own regripping, and he had a bending machine. Amazing, just amazing.
So you spent an hour. Plus with the king, and then there was another time. Right. I want you to walk me through that because his memory is legendary as who he was as a golfer and as a person. Because why don't you tell it?
Yeah, so I actually went down there 3 years in a row. In my third year, I knew I was leaving the club, so I actually had him sign one for me too. One thing Mr. Palmer would never do is he would never just sign Arnold Palmer, because he didn't like, from what I understand, he never told me this, but from what I understand, he was not real happy about people, making money on his signature, which would have happened, because he's such an incredible person and such a huge figure in the game of golf, obviously. But he would always sign, best of luck or to this person rather than just his name. So anyway, I went down there 2 or 3 times, got my own little print for my office, which is like one of my prized possessions. But yeah, so anyway, so I met him 3 times in Latrobe, and then went when I was down in Bay Hill with some members playing golf. we were staying at Bay Hill, and we went out into the breakfast area where we're eating breakfast. And I go walking down there, and I see Mr. Palmer, and I'm not like a big celebrity seeker. I'm not the guy to go up and fawn over celebrities because I figure they're in their element, and I don't want to bug them. But it was neat seeing him again. And as I'm walking past him, he was looking at me kind of with this look like, you're going to stop and say hi, right? I mean, that's kind of like how he was looking at me. So I said, hey, Mr. Palmer. And I said, my name's Mike Reilly. We met a couple of times. He's like, sure, Mike. Yeah. And so he asked me who I was down with. Told him I was down with about 16 members playing Bay Hill for 3 days, and just, just really made you feel important, just such a great guy.
Well, I worked with a guy named Scott Culbertson, who was a sports anchor at KGMB TV, the CBS affiliate in Honolulu, Hawaii, and somehow we got to talking about Arnold Palmer, and he told me a story about meeting Arnold Palmer on Ponte Vedra Beach, adjacent to the Players' Championship, and then he met him like 20 years later, like a crazy amount of time, and he reintroduced himself and said, we've met before. And Arnold said, I know, Scott, I remember. And he was giving details that only an airtight memory could provide. So when he saw you and your kind of likeness to Jack Nicklaus, I'm sure that probably sparked something in his mind. And his dentist and very close friend, Dr. Howdy Giles, who's been a guest twice here on Party Time, My Golf Story, I asked him about Arnold's memory and attention to detail, and he said that's exactly what it was. So, Mike, I would not be surprised if it was going through his head like, we've met before, and also your likeness to Jack Nicklaus probably just cemented it or brought it to the forefront. Hey, let's back it up for a little bit. Going to Pittsburgh, you mentioned the family business. We know people that own family businesses, and sometimes as the children, you have to expand the pie, and it doesn't always work out. So you talked about going to Pittsburgh really to spread your wings, which I think was a great move, and gave your brothers a little bit of breathing room. But was it a hard decision to make, or was it easy? You tell me.
No, it was tough. I had made the decision prior to telling my parents, and I decided to leave the year I got married. And we were down in Florida, and I remember I was telling my parents, my mom and dad, they were not happy about it. My mom especially, she was not happy. But I went over to Whitemarsh Valley for 3 years, and they quickly got over it. I think, when I moved to Pittsburgh, that actually was another knife in my mom's heart. She hates it. My dad, they hate to have anybody outside their little wingspan. They like to keep everybody nice and close. We have a pretty close-knit family. But, had an opportunity in Pittsburgh. My wife did. My wife had an opportunity in Pittsburgh. We decided to take it, and it was a good move for me, and it was a good move for her. So it was tough decision, but it turned out to work out all right.
But tell me this, was the goal always to get your experience and then come back to Philadelphia as your own man, so to speak?
I think I remember thinking that I learned so much from my father. His work ethic is just unbelievable.
Oh yes.
He just is an amazing man, and I learned so much from him. And I just remember one of the things I said to him is, he loved us all so much, and he wanted what was best for us. But I remember when I was working for him, I think I said to him, I was like, Dad, you're not making me work as hard as you had to work to get to where you are. Because if I didn't want to work one day, if I wanted to go play golf with Kevin Walsh, I could just say, hey, can someone else cover my shift, and I could get out of it. And I looked at it, I'm like, I'm 21 years old, 22 years old, just out of college. I mean, I need to be, nose to the grindstone. I mean, I need to be grinding it. So that's kind of how I made the decision to move on.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about Villanova. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I remember first getting up there. My boys just got up there. I have 3 boys at Villanova right now, and I dropped them off, and I just remember thinking to myself, oh man, what a great time. That freshman year, when you first get in there, you don't know anybody, and there's just people all over the place, and the girls are pretty, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is all so new. It was just fantastic. My 4 years there changed my life. Met my wife, second semester freshman year, we started dating, and we just wouldn't have changed things. I have a good group of friends I still stay very close in touch with from there. We get together a few times a year. They're all local, and I talk and text with them pretty regularly, but we all get together when we can. But it was a great school. You came and visited me once. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we went to visit your Uncle Don, Father Don. What was his position at Villanova aside from getting my brother out of trouble constantly?
So Donald,
and probably you and your brothers too.
I never got into trouble that anybody found out about. Thank you, except for shooting bottle rockets in the hallway. That didn't catch me. No, Uncle Donald, when I was there, he was an RA. Or he wasn't an RA. He was a priest that lived in Moriarty Hall, which is on the other side of Lancaster Avenue from the main campus. And he had his bit of students, and they just loved him. I mean, he would have poker games. Uncle Don is such a unique individual. He's so incredible. A lot like my dad. Their sense of humor is the same, and they're just so much fun to be around. Make you feel comfortable. Really do what they can to. They do anything for you. Really do anything for you.
Tell me this. When you guys would go down to the Jersey Shore, is it true that Uncle Don would say Mass on the beach and bring communion, and people would try to crash Mass so they didn't have their Sunday obligation?
You know, I didn't go to the beach that often, Kev. I didn't. I mean, I was either working or caddying or playing golf, or, I was not, like, I think our family went to the beach maybe 3 times as a child. But I wouldn't doubt that. And I wouldn't doubt that Uncle Don would say Mass out there for everybody, because every family reunion we would have, he would come over for Thanksgiving, he was saying Mass. If he was coming over for Christmas dinner, he was saying Mass. And it's such an integral part of our lives. My daughter's getting married in October, and he's celebrating the Mass. So
that's awesome. And he celebrates all the Masses for better and worse in your family. And at Nancy's funeral, I think he said something that you come from a big family, 7 brothers and sisters, and now how many grandchildren are there? Your family is enormous.
26, 24.
Okay.
Grandchildren, yeah.
And Uncle Don has baptized everybody. He's married everybody, and he buries everybody, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. So let's talk about Nancy. I miss your wife terribly. I remember the first time I met her, I'm just like, Mike, you did good. You did good. God, she was such a pretty girl, such a nice girl, good Catholic girl, incredible smile, incredibly kind. And how long has it been, Mike?
It'll be 6 years in November.
I'm going to share I don't know that I shared this with you before, but coming from a big loving family like you do with sisters, and I imagine for Nancy, who came from a small family, to marry into your family must have been like, holy smokes, man, this is like volume turned up. But as she got sick with cancer in the end, and I came to visit you just a couple months before she died, and I remember calling over to the house, and she answered the phone, and I told her I wanted to come over, and she said, Kev, I'm not feeling too good. I don't know. And I'm like, no, Nancy, I got to come see you. And it turned out, sadly, to be the last time I saw her. But your sisters came over and like took the place over. I mean, talk about a display of love and the benefits of having such a big family. There's so many people that helped out, and there was so much love. I was just blown away by it, but I think that was one of the multiple blessings that you had in a very difficult time, was having a big family. And I think it extended beyond the blood family. It also extended into the golf community. How did the golf community help you out when Nancy was really sick?
Well, my members were very generous with their time, financially. They were, North Hills members are one in a million. I've worked at a number of clubs, and the members at North Hills are just fantastic. Always have been. Nancy had a very unique perspective on this, and she didn't keep it private. And really, the lesson that taught me was that it was, believe it or not, it may sound weird, it was a very selfless thing to do. Because by keeping something private, I have another friend who's going through something similar to what I went through, and his wife is very private and doesn't want really anyone to know. And I just thought to myself, wow, he has to grieve all by himself, right? Because he doesn't want his wife doesn't want people to know. He's got to honor that. And I just thought, wow, I was so blessed that Nancy was open and willing to share her journey with all of her friends and family. And we were blessed to have them want to be part of it. So it was really a life lesson, I think, for the kids and for me that, when you open up to people, they give you back a lot more than you gave them. And we were blessed.
There is, I've said it before many times, making yourself vulnerable. People will come and help you, and they will lift you. And if you're crying about it, it's fine, because even those that don't show tears publicly, they're crying inside, and you know that, and you know who the good people are around you. Nancy blessed you with a number of children. How many kids do you have?
Well, if you had remembered the number, Kevin, you'd be the only one on our.
I think I know it. I just want to hear it. It's six, right?
I have six. Yeah.
Yes.
6 kids. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I've been blessed with 6 kids. They're from 24 down to 17. Yeah.
Yeah. And where are they in life? You got one's getting married. You got a couple in college. You got a lot going on.
Jean's getting married in October. Just about 11 days from now. My gosh, I can't believe that. That's unbelievable. And Michael, her twin, they also lives in Manayunk. He was working for SEI, and he's studying for the CFA exam, and he's also actually looking for another position now. So I'm excited for him. He's got a big future ahead of him. Peter is a junior at Villanova, an accounting major, and also studying Chinese. Just spent 2 months in Taiwan studying Chinese, which was such a great experience. I'm glad we could provide that to him. And Mark and Robert are now freshmen at Villanova, learning, kind of following in the family footsteps. And Sally is a junior at the Mount. Yeah.
So 2 sets of twins. Do I have that right?
That's right. Yeah.
What's that like? My dad's a twin. I don't know if you know, but
I do. I've met your uncle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's funny. We started out with twins, so I'm glad we did, because had we started out with one and then had twins, it would have been like, oh my God, this is crazy. But when the third one came, when Peter came, it was obviously a little bit easier, because now you've got a couple of playmates. There are 2 by the time Peter's born, so you've got now 4 sets of hands taking care of one, which was great. And I think they all developed really good relationships, really close. But having 6 kids in the house under 8, boy, it was fun. It was a lot of work, very expensive. Do not plan on retiring. Thinking about starting a GoFundMe, But it was worth every penny and every minute, because what else are you going to do? I always, when I have younger people come into my life, or I always say, look, I always call it my 80-year-old perspective. I say, when you're sitting on your front porch, when you're 80, you're sitting in your rocking chair. What do you want to be looking out at? Do you want to be looking out at a nice car and all this and that? That would be nice, but I'd rather see all my grandkids running around, spraying the hose on each other and getting into trouble, and because that's really what life's all about.
You sound like your old man. Are you going to buy like the O'Connell line van and just like round them up and take them all to the movies?
No, I don't know. It depends on if they give me as many grandchildren as my father had, maybe I'll have to. But I don't know. I get this big house that I'm in, and it's a lot to maintain. So I don't know if I'll be able to pull off what my parents pulled off and stay in this house, because I'm getting tired of maintaining. It's a lot.
So, Mike, tell me, we got into Nancy. I know you grieved appropriately for some time, but life is good.
Yeah.
Getting on the dating scene, what can you share?
Sure, yeah. I've been dating a woman now, Barb, for about 10 months, and she's great. I'm getting along great, and love spending time with her. And the kids are getting to know her, and, couldn't be happy with it. It's awesome.
Tell me about the transition, because you were a head pro for a long time, and now you're the general manager. Do you miss the day-to-day of the golf shop, or are you still really involved in that?
I'm not super involved in the golf shop. I kind of trained myself to take a step back. I've always been, knee deep in the mud, in the trenches, taking care of members and being there on the front lines, and while you want to stay active, you also want to give your department heads the freedom to kind of do what they want to do. Mickey Skowski, who's my head pro, is fantastic. He was a film on for, I want to say 35 years or whatever it was, taking care of members. And he really knows how to take care of members well. So, we do things a little bit differently, but it doesn't mean the way he does it is wrong. So I kind of have to take a step back. I've enjoyed my role as a general manager. I do miss kind of being out in front of the members a little bit more, playing golf with them, teaching them a little bit. But, in my role now, I feel real good about being able to set the direction and keep the culture of the club that the members grew to love, and kind of keep that going.
Hey, Mike, could you tell I was having a technical problem? I was like fiddling around there.
You're fiddling on my phone with something I saw, yeah. I don't know what you're doing.
I hit the microphone and it like knocked the cord out, and I'm just like, Mike, just keep talking because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back and I'm not going to be able to talk. Hey man, we're getting toward the end here.
Okay.
I got a couple more questions for you. Tell me a great golf story. I mean, what's your greatest golf story that just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, or something that you would tell over a 6-pack of beer with your buddies?
I didn't have the playing career that you had, Kev, but, I had a couple of good rounds. A couple of them were pretty funny. One of them I remember was, I was on the range at Huntingdon Valley, and an old golf pro named Buzz Garvin was in town. And we grew up with Buzz and married Kate and Tim. Tim's who's in Long Island now in New York as a head pro at a beautiful golf club up there. So Buzz is in town, and I'm working on my swing, and my dad's there, and Jack Conley's there. And so, I told my dad, hey, take a look at this. And Buzz came over. He's like, well, Mike, do this. So I started hitting the ball like he wanted me to. And I said, Buzz, I made every single ball thin. He's like, that's okay. He's like, hit them thin to go straight. I'm like, okay. So, and the next day I went out in a tournament and missed a 6-foot putt on 18 to shoot 1 under. And took second place, unfortunately, but it was really funny because I hit every ball just dead thin right at the pin, and a great time. It was a fun round, but yeah, that's one interesting little story. Not as dramatic as many, but yeah.
Thin to win. Hey, if it's thin, it has a chance. If it's fat, you got no chance on.
No chance in it fat. Yeah.
All right, Mike. Wrapping it up here. Mm-hmm. Talk about life. What would life be like if you didn't have golf in it? I mean, how profound a piece is golf to you? How central is it to you in your life?
Oh, it's so hard to separate myself from golf. Just in general, that being said, my members, I have some members that'll play 6 days a week. And I tell them, I'm like, man, if I was retired and had all the money in the world, I love golf, but I'm not playing 6 days a week. That's a lot on that golf course. I play, 2 or 3 times a week, hit balls a couple times. Love being around the game. I think it's more about the people than it is the game for me. Just playing and, having a couple dollars on the game and seeing how good you can be and just, jabbing at each other. That to me is as much fun as anything else. Being out there, playing with your friends, playing with other people. Being around the game is great.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine anything about it. And I wouldn't know you if there wasn't golf. I wouldn't know your brothers. I've said it before, like everything I have in my life, ultimately there's a golf connection to it. And so if we took golf out of the equation, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'd be the ass that you think I am, like all the time. I'm still an ass, but you're an ass. But you are my friend, Mike. I love you dearly. And as much as I like to bust your golf balls, I appreciate you being in my life because my life is better for you because of you. And I think we're due to play some golf. It's been 2 years. I missed out on the kind of guys thing. You got room for me next year?
I think we can make some room. We'll put Jesse on the back burner if you come into town.
Okay. You're playing.
Who knows? Maybe you guys put me on the back burner when you come into town. Who knows?
No. You're in the tribe. The tribe is secure. Occasionally, we need some substitutes or whatever. But I missed you guys this past summer. But next summer we'll do it. Or you know what? You guys just get out of the cold, come down to Florida, and I'll do some hosting here. How does that sound?
It'll be a lot of fun. I enjoy that.
All right, Mike, all the best to you. I got to wrap a couple things up. Mike Reilly has been our guest. He is the general manager of North Hills, PGA Pro, brother of Will and Hugh Reilly, son of Hugh Reilly Sr., the first family of golf in America. So we got to get the old man on. We got to get your dad. All right. So work on him. Let him know I'm coming looking for him. All right. And then it'll be absolutely complete. But thanks for all you do, Mike. And let's keep in touch. All right.
Absolutely, Kev. Thanks for the time.
All right, big thanks to Party Drinks, title sponsor of this, and a big thanks to the Golf Real Estate Pros, Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh, SuncoastDreams.com. If your dream is to live in the greater Sarasota area, then Vince and Gene are your people to make it happen. For Mike Reilly, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the Golf Real Estate Pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.
This is Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh with the SuncoastDreams.com real estate team at Fine Properties. We've helped hundreds of families find their dream homes in golf and resort communities in Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton, Sarasota, Parrish, Venice, and the surrounding areas.
Let us be your guides to finding your dream home here as well. Learn more at suncoastdreams.com or call us at 941-220-4000.